My darn cat gave me bad allergies and I feel it in this eye. So we will see if by the end of this video, my eye is just swollen shut or not. What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla King of the Monsters discussion video. It didn't feel right to me talking about my top 5 favorite moments from Godzilla King of the Monsters in terms of visuals without talking about my actual favorite moments of the movie. So I've compiled a list of my top 10 favorite moments from the movie because I was really struggling to narrow it down to 5, so I just wanted to get them all in there. So we will talk about my top 10 favorite moments from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Keep in mind this top 10 list, it doesn't really matter if these moments don't line up to yours, it's all subjective. If you liked different scenes, good for you. I liked these ones more than I liked those ones. Or if the order is a big point of contention for you, just know that it's kind of loosely in the right order. The top 4 are in the right order, but everything else is just loosely in the right order. But other than that, let's hop into the list and talk about it. Number 10, my favorite moment of the movie. Can I just say Godzilla vs. Ghidorah in the Battle of Boston, or is that too vague? Because that means the whole fight, right? There's so many great moments in that fight. I really like Godzilla's entrance into the fight, super cool, kind of Terror of Mechagodzilla-esque, and I think it's all great when they're fighting in Fenway and you're down there on the ground floor with Mark Russell running around. That's all really cool. Then there's so many great moments outside of that, you know, when Ghidorah strikes Godzilla like a triple snake, or when Godzilla gets lifted into the air by Ghidorah. So many really cool things happen in the Battle of Boston that I couldn't just narrow it down to, oh yeah, that's my favorite part, and that's my next favorite part, because I just compiled it all into the one list. I thought that whole fight was great. Next up is a segment of the Battle of Boston, because you know the Battle of Boston is 12 plus minutes. It's long, and I just focused on Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. So my number 9 is Mothra vs. Rodan. I loved Mothra vs. Rodan. Thought it was really cool. Rodan doesn't do a lot in this movie. He has a great sequence when he hatches from the volcano, or when he erupts from the volcano, that I should have put on my list now looking at it, but it doesn't make my list. However, it's a great moment, absolutely iconic. I love that stuff. Rodan's fight with Mothra though is really cool because Mothra is really cool. Mothra elevates that whole thing because I just love Mothra in this movie. So seeing her kick some butt is awesome. So that's why Rodan vs. Mothra makes it on here. Plus, Mothra gets that really cool kill shot on Rodan, which is awesome. Gets a nice little fatality on him, so that's pretty sweet. Number 8 is Burning Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. It's super cool seeing Godzilla hulk up into Burning Godzilla. You can just tell he's over it. He's mad. He just wants Ghidorah dead. I love that part when Ghidorah, you know, sits up and fires the triple gravity beam at Godzilla, and he just walks through it. He does not care. It doesn't affect him at all. We've seen that beam throw him down pits earlier in the movie. Now he just walks right through it. Awesome. I absolutely love it. Plus, it's really cool. Kick off with Long Live the King, and then you hear that 2014 build-up sound effect, and you see him just standing up. Everything around him's melting. Super cool. And you have that Godzilla roar, which is great. Everything about that is great. The nuclear pulse is awesome. Seeing Mothra's wings in the pulse is awesome. Watching the fatality on Ghidorah is pretty cool. I like the way that Ghidorah's heads disintegrate with his wings. The Ghidorah fatality doesn't make my list because I think this is actually cooler than when Godzilla smokes his head. I think this is cooler than that. So this one makes my list, where Godzilla gets the triple fatality. You know, it kind of is a triple fatality on Ghidorah, right? He vaporizes 2 heads, stomps through his chest, and explodes him. You could count the vaporizing heads as 1 because it happens simultaneously, but I'm not gonna. I say Godzilla kills Ghidorah like 5 times in this movie if you include the bitten off head. Next up is the montage that plays over the credits. It's so cool. Great world building, so many cool little Easter eggs in it, and it's also set to that amazing Serge Tankian, Bear McCreary, Godzilla, Blue Oyster Cult cover. Oh, everything about that is great. I never thought that I would associate a song that is so clearly about Godzilla that it repeats his name constantly and associate it more with Kong. But listening to Serge Tankian's Godzilla, all it does is make me think about Kong, because that whole final little bit of the montage where you're building up to Kong and you think you're gonna see him, you know, you're seeing footage of Skull Island, the camera's panning through it all, and then you get to that big cave painting. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. Everything about it I love. It got me so hyped in the theater watching it the first time. I was literally chanting or like shouting watching it, like, come on, show us, show Kong, you know. I really wanted it to end with that shot that Kong Skull Island ends on, where Kong's beating his chest looking at the helicopters. I really thought we were gonna get to see that again, but either way, it's still an amazing way to end the movie. I mean, you ended on such a high note. I just think it's great. Number 6, The Mass Awakening. It's I mean, it starts off with one of the greatest visuals in the movie. Ghidorah landing on that volcano, regenerating his head, awesome. You have Ghidorah framed in front of the cross, awesome. Just Ghidorah on a volcano, awesome. Everything about that shot is great. He has that horrifying roar. I love that roar that Ghidorah does when he's on the volcano. It's just creepy. I love it. So Ghidorah does his roar, and then the mass awakening starts. It's a really intense montage too. You just watch like the spider legs coming up out of the ground. The music's really intense. I think that whole scene is awesome. Next up, one of the only scenes that emotionally impacts me every time I see the movie, Mothra using her god rays. That whole little bit when Mark Russell walks out of the Osprey, you see it in the sky, Mothra blasts the clouds out of the way, and the Mothra Yuji Koseki theme plays. It is so powerful. It gives me chills every time I see it, goosebumps. I love that moment so much. Mothra is really the show stealer. She's made the list more than anyone else makes the list. That scene with Mothra is amazing. I love it so much. Same thing with Serizawa's sacrifice. That's my number 4. Serizawa's whole sacrifice from the key to coexistence all the way to his death is just beautiful. It's so sad, and you feel it. You feel the emotion. The music is amazing. Some of the best songs on the soundtrack. It's great. I love the way they treated Serizawa's character. I was worried that we're killing him a bit early in the MonsterVerse, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we're killing him too early. It should have come later. But watching the scene, it really makes me go, no one else could have done this better. It's so good that Serizawa died under the hands of Michael Dougherty, because no one else would have done it with as much respect and care for the character. It is fantastic. It calls back to the original in a really cool way, with Serizawa dying as somewhat of an indirect result of the Oxygen Destroyer. He also dies saving Godzilla, which is a great role reversal of what happens in the original, where he dies to kill Godzilla. Everything about it is perfect. I think Serizawa's sacrifice is great. And his final line, "Goodbye, old friend," it's heartbreaking, man. Everything about it is great. Next up is what follows that. It's Godzilla's rebirth. Godzilla rising up out of the water with the Ifukube music playing and firing his atomic breath into the sky. I said this before and I'll say it again. My entire life built up to the moment where I was sitting in a theater listening to Ifukube's music on the IMAX speakers, watching Godzilla on the IMAX screen fire his atomic breath into the sky. That's what my life has been building towards. That is all I wanted, and it's amazing. Everything about it is great. It just feels so powerful. You watch that and you just are like, yes, we're gonna go kick Ghidorah's butt. It's great. I absolutely love it. And I know I keep saying that. You can make a supercut of how many times I've said I absolutely love something, but it's my top 5-10 favorite moments of the movie. What do you expect? You expect me to sit here and go, yeah, Godzilla firing his breath in the sky, that was cool? No, it's awesome. I love it. Now this one, number 2, this is the one that when TJ Storm asked me at Anime Matsuri what my favorite scene was, I freaked out. I didn't know what to say. So I just said this one, because I was like, I don't know what to say. So I was like, Mothra's awakening under the waterfall when she opens her wings. It's the only scene that brought me to tears as many times as it did. It doesn't anymore, but it's still, every time I see that scene, it affects me emotionally more than anything else in the film does. Whatever it is about the way they treat Mothra in this movie makes me like Mothra so much more than I've ever liked her before. And watching that scene, when she slowly opens her wings, you have Houston Brooks returning from Kong in the background, like open arms, clapping and cheering. I feel the same way he does. It's like, this is an incredible moment, and I'm so glad I could be a part of it. I think it's just amazing. It's so beautiful. By far the most beautiful thing in the movie. And when TJ Storm asked me what my favorite part was, in my head I was like, I don't know. So I just said this one, and he was like, yeah, this is what the fans have told me is their favorite part consistently. This is the part that fans consistently say is their favorite. So you might be like, well, what's to top it? You already used Burning Godzilla. You already used everything else that could be there. Battle of Boston, I kind of covered that whole thing. So what could be next? What is left? My number 1 favorite moment of Godzilla King of the Monsters doesn't have any monsters in it. It is a quiet human moment between Mark Russell and Dr. Serizawa on the sub as they go to revive Godzilla. That entire sequence, from when Mothra does the God Rays all the way up until Godzilla fires his atomic breath into the sky, is perfect. But this moment alone is so impactful. It really cements Serizawa as my favorite Godzilla protagonist almost of all time. I think I like the original more because there's a bit more complexity to him, but this version of Serizawa might be my second favorite Godzilla protagonist ever. The speech that he gives Mark Russell is fantastic. Every time I've seen the movie, I've kicked myself walking out of it going, why did I not pull out my phone, do the voice memo and record it? Because I want to hear that speech over and over and over again. It's fantastic. It's so emotional, and there's comic relief in it as well, so it's not just this emotional downer of a moment. You can kind of laugh with the characters, but it's still sad and somber. But it's also very hopeful and inspiring at the same time. time. It's great. Serizawa has a few quotes during that sequence that really just stand out to me. Specifically, the way he starts the speech. His line when he starts the speech is perfect. I love it. Sometimes the only way to heal our wounds is to make peace with the demons who created them. I hear that and I'm like, oh my god. I don't know why that hits me in the feels so hard, but it does. That's a great line. And the way he ends the speech too, when he says, because sometimes these moments of crisis are also potential moments of faith. He gives his whole speech and then he ends it by being like, the only question is, what part are we going to play in nature's course, you know? It's a fantastic speech. There's great little quotes within it. It's very emotional, great character building, great character development between Mark Russell and Serizawa as well. You really feel like, yeah, these guys used to be friends and they've just gone their separate ways, but they still care about each other. It's a very sad scene. It builds up into Serizawa's sacrifice, which makes his sacrifice even more emotional. You got the return of his watch, which is great. Everything about it is perfect. So my favorite scene of Godzilla King of the Monsters is not a scene with Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. It is just Serizawa's speech. Enough said. What do you guys think? What are your favorite moments from the movie? What's your favorite quote from the movie? Because those are mine. Serizawa's line, these moments of crisis are also potential moments of faith. That's my favorite line of the movie. So what about you guys? Comment below and let me know. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. D-Man, out.